All right, am I on? Can you hear me at the back? All right, thank you. Sorry, my voice is a little bit hoarse. I'm just recovering, from some sore throat, but no germs, no disease, so don't worry. All right, I'm good. I'm good, really. All right, it's good. It's really good to see you here, to see parents, leaving your children home. What a risk! So I want to congratulate you for that risk. The fact that you have taken a risk of leaving, your children home and coming here, it's a really, really big risk. And I know some of you, your bodies are here, but your minds are wondering, what are they doing now? Where are they running? Are they sleeping or are they still at work? I'm sure you are really, really worried about that. Who did you leave your kids with? Can I just know, for the sake of interest? 14 and 16. Are you sure the house is going to be intact by the time you arrive? All right, okay, all right. They're watching TV, all right. Okay, who have little kids? All right, who did you leave your kids with? Who is watching them? All right, so there's a caregiver there. All right, who left the kids with the parents? All right, not many here. All right, you did. All right, were your kids excited? All right, they didn't want to show you excitement. Immediately you shut that door, they said, hallelujah, she's gone. You know why they were excited? Because they share one common enemy. Please don't tell your parents this, because that's a secret I'm telling you. Between your parents and your kids, they have one common enemy. And you know that common enemy? It's you, unfortunately. You are the common enemy. So now they'll be talking about you. They'll be given chocolates that you denied them. They'll be given ice cream. Aha, there you are. That's why you are enemy. So immediately, if you hear them clapping, it's not that they're just saying, hallelujah, she's gone. We can celebrate. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, Christoph, it's really a privilege, for myself and Tiba to be with you this evening. We love having this kind of, interaction and sharing. You can see how I'm standing here. I'm not here to preach at you. I want to be very vulnerable. We are also on the journey of parenting. Our kids are 22. He's at Pretoria, finishing his varsity this year. And then the other one, I took him, early in the morning. I woke up at 4:30. To take him to Marisburg College. He came over the long weekend. He's 15. So we have 22 and 15, 7 years different. So I and Tiba got married. 5 years, we had no kid. We had so much peace, 5 years. And then we were praying for a kid, and then Eddie, who is our firstborn, showed up. And that just changed everything. We started planning all our lives around him. Whether we are visiting in the evening, we had to make sure where is he going to be, what is he going to eat. Now, all of a sudden, we are thinking for another person who has come in our world. So our world changed. For 5 years, we were very much at peace. And this fellow came. He just disturbed all our peace, all right? Tiba stopped loving me. She started loving him. Feel for me. Feel sorry for me, all right? I want you to feel sorry for me. Do you experience that? Please don't say it. Otherwise, tomorrow there's no dinner for you. Look at the way she's looking at you. I'm kidding. But what I'm saying is that, they change your life. They just change your life. And then for 7 years, we've settled with the fact that heaven has given us just this one. And then, zoom, came Victor. That's 7 years. And we started relearning what we had learned. Because this one who came second was completely different from the first one. Completely different. I'll talk to you about that later on. So we started learning new lessons every day. We thought, actually, we were perfect parents until the second one came. He took out all our perfectionists, and we became real sinners, in the sight of the Lord. Very humbled. But it has been a lot of fun. So after the second one, we had a very serious conversation. If the first one came 5 years after our marriage, and then the second one came 7 years after the first one, guess when the third one is going to come? We are going to be too old. We close the factory immediately. All right. There was no calling mother-in-law, what do you think? No. Because mother-in-law will say, we need another one. We need another one. As if they look after them, eh? They will encourage you. But then when they're crying in the night, mother-in-law is not there. My mom is not there. All right, you are alone. Welcome to the evening of fun. I hope you and me, you and I, together with Tiba, we can have fun this evening. Just have fun. Because parenting, it's a fascinating gift, actually. It's something that you can't just learn from the books. There are people, with due respect, who have written a lot about parenting. But every time I read some of these things, some things make sense, but then some things you realize, no, this does not apply in my context. So each context just changes every time. So I'm very much aware of that. So even when we're talking about some things this evening, I'm aware they may not apply to your context. But what I've done, I've selected some principal things that cut across culture, cut across experience, whether you're in the town or whether in the rural. There are certain things that you cannot take away from parenting. And those are things that I want us to chat about this evening. First of all, I want to talk about the joyous moment of parenting. And parenting is a joyous moment. I mean, what joy can you experience than heaven, the Lord in heaven, partnering with you and giving you the responsibility of looking after another human being? That's such a joy. That's such an honest responsibility that God has given us, that we can partner with Him. He can trust us to look after this human being called a child. So it's quite awesome, but also it's such a responsibility. So parenting has this side where it can really be joyful. You can have very nice, joyful moments. I mean, let's go to the baby time, where this little one opens their eyes and they're smiling at you. And you really think, you really feel you are on top of the world, right? Have you felt like that? You're really feeling you're on top of the world. They're laughing, they're smiling back, and you say something, they want to repeat, the first word that they learn. And then you see them, the first time, they're walking, all of a sudden, they fall, they cry, they come to you. It's such a joyful moment. The first time they're learning to ride a bicycle, for those of you, who have kids, who ride bicycles, you see them, trying, until, hallelujah, there they go. They're riding, the bicycle. Such a joyful time. Such a joyful time. So parenting has this joyous moment, has this joyous part, which we cannot take away. Because, people talk about parenting as if it's a gloomy thing. Well, we'll talk about that because there's another side, all right? But I want to emphasize this side, the side where, remember that side. Remember that side where you smiled. She put a smile on you. He put a smile on you. You never grieved, you were not angry. You just said, no, this is a blessing. And you convince yourself this is a blessing. Don't forget those times. Because there will be some times which you put these times to a test. So parenting is a joyous moment, but also it is an adventure. Take it as an adventure. You are exploring, you are discovering all the time. That's why I say, no, we didn't come here to teach you new techniques, because parenting can be adventurous. It depends on how you take it. If you take it as a boring, journey, it will be a boring journey. But if you take it as an adventurous journey, it will be an adventurous journey, where you and your kids are discovering new things. But also, what happens in the process? You discover yourself. I thought I knew myself. Tiba will tell you, we thought we knew ourselves until our children arrived. We thought we had, we're telling everybody we have a gift of patience. We have the gift of patience. until your children arrive. And then they test your patience a little bit. And then you wonder, where did that gift go? Well, you didn't have it, all right? You thought you had it, you didn't have it. You just kidded yourself. Because that's what God does. All right, you have been telling everybody the gift of patience, the gift of patience, the gift of kindness, all right, the gift of love. And the Lord just said, okay, Christo, let's give you that one. Let's see how much patience, you have. Because they'll test you, they'll push you, to the corner and test, that patience. So what am I saying to you? Parenting can be very adventurous. It's a time, not only are you discovering your children, you're also discovering something about yourself. It's like being a teacher. I met a teacher, outside. Yeah, the teacher is sitting right in the corner there. Being a teacher, the joyousness of being a teacher is to discover yourself. Every time, these kids, challenge you with questions, you're beginning to learn things about yourself. So that is very important, for us, to keep in mind. Let us not throw away the time of joy. Let us not throw away the adventurous time when the times of testing come. All right. So I've talked about, parenting being a joyous moment, and you may be wondering whether my children and Tiba's children, came from heaven. That, they obeyed everything. They were smiling all the time. Maybe there is a parent here, who have children who are always obeying, always doing what you tell them to do. God bless you. Really, God bless you. You are very unique. And please handle that nicely. Handle that nice and pray that it lasts longer, all right? Because you are very nice. So if some of you came here and say, what, I don't need this stuff. I don't need this seminar, on parenting. I have it right. Well, if you have one kid, praise the Lord. But don't be tempted to have the next one. Because all that what you believe, will be just thrown away. So what am I saying to you? There is another moment of parenting, what I call the challenging moment. Parenting as a challenging drama. I know you are worried about that picture. It's very graphic, it's very extreme, but there comes times like that. There comes times like that. Somebody is putting this way, the other one is putting, the other way. Parenting can be a challenging task where there are caves where you never expected them to come, and they show up. Like every adventure, as you go through adventure, there are certain areas you don't know. They'll just show up. I remember way back, I was in the US, and we went to the SeaWorld, the Disney, the SeaWorld. And that was before, our kids, were born. So these friends of mine didn't warn me. So they took me on the roller coaster. You call it roller coaster? Yeah, the one that takes you. Oh, I don't like those kind of things, all right? They start very nicely. And they don't warn you. So you are there, you're just saying, why are people shouting? You're hearing the other guys shouting. Cry! Why are they crying? Please, this is very nice. But without knowing, all of a sudden, then you begin to join the cry of the others. The one I didn't like was this one where they don't warn you. It comes through a dark cave. And then there are monsters there. So you are very much at peace because now you have come, you have been taken high and I know, you're looking frightened this evening, all right? You have taken high and whatever. So now, when you're just coming to a point where you feel it has come to an end, and you just say, can we just finish this? Please. And then it's just moving, and all of a sudden, it goes into this cave, and they're monsters. You find, it comes there, and then you all want to. That's parenting. That's parenting. When you hear others crying, you haven't experienced it, you think, why? It's not a big deal. Well, the cave will come. The drop for you will come. The cliff will come. Some of you are just, why am I a parent? Well, too late. Sorry, too late. It's like when you are in this roller coaster, I told them, why did you invite me? They said, no, you can't jump out. You have to take it right at the end. So you have to endure it nicely right there. Ooh, Christo, and you say, what a speaker you brought tonight to just depress us, all of us to depress us. Well, we'll have fun just now. I'm just giving you the realistic things here. A baby crying endlessly in the night. Endlessly. You don't know what's wrong. That can be a huge, huge challenge. A huge, huge challenge. I've seen, in places where a mom and the little kid cries. She has tried all she can to a point where now she doesn't know what to do. So the kid is crying, the mom is like, It's like a piano, eh? That's why there is a reason why they say don't be a parent when you're a teenager. There is a reason for that. All right, there's a reason for that. Because it can really test you. A kid stretching your coo, where you're being stretched, you're telling them to stop doing certain things. Excuse me. You're telling them to stop doing certain things, but then they just look at you and then they keep on doing it. It's like your hair is just standing on the edge. You just want to take that one back to heaven where it came from. And you say, no. Well, Dr. Amon says, no, God is our partner in parenting. Please, can you have him now? All right? I don't need this partnership because this shareholding seems to be one-sided. It's me doing the work and you're just sitting there, all right? It feels like that sometimes. Parenting can be challenging. Parenting can be stretching. And it's when it stretches us, that's when sometimes we feel like we want to give up. I may be speaking to a parent gathered here this evening. You're feeling like you've tried all what you can. You feel like I'm failing. I just want to give up. It's not becoming even better. It's becoming worse all the time. I just want to give up. I hope you don't give up. I hope you don't give up. Because you know what? Those times are short-lived. Sometimes they look very longer. Because you may say, no, wait a minute. For me, it's long. No, it's not long. Compared to the other experiences, those times are very short-lived. I always say to parents, just take them through that time. When they're through that time, there will be another period you will really enjoy them back. I know there is that time where you just feel, you know what? Can we take them back where they came from? There is that feeling. But endure that moment. Because when you do that, there is another season that will come where you just enjoy them. Just like when they were babies. When they come back to you, they phone you, Mommy, how are you doing? What's happening? Whatever. But then there is this period where they tell, Mommy, you don't know anything. You're dumb. You don't know anything. The teacher knows everything. These teachers, I don't know. Sorry, can I point out a teacher? Everybody will be looking at you. All right, all right, the teacher is seated somewhere there. All right. The teacher knows everything. I mean, in our home, they will tell us, you don't know anything. Daddy, Mommy, you don't know. My teacher told me this. Well, your teacher doesn't live with you. I live with you. It's that kind of feeling sometimes. Teachers, whatever you tell them, they listen to you, they don't listen to us. Parenting can be a challenging moment. So take these two moments. Joyous, adventurous, discovery, but then there is this other side, challenging. You have a challenging child who is pushing the boundaries all the time. You have those dark moments that you go through. There is work pressure. There are all these things that are going through, and sometimes you just want to give up. The reason for this seminar this evening, and I have titled it, You Are Not Alone. You are not alone. It feels like that when you are in the deep of the deeps, but you are not alone. We've been there. We're still there. There are others here, if we were to give a chance for them to talk about what they're going through, you'll be very surprised. Some of you think you're going through the worst. There are people who have endured the worst. There are people who have heard the worst from their children than you have. So you are not alone. And I hope we can encourage each other just on that point, that you're not alone. We are together. You are not alone. And for me, that is the good news. That is the good news. The good news is that no, you are not alone. You're surrounded by people who have gone through it, including your parents. Because maybe they didn't tell you how you really stretch them. No, you are an angel. I know some of you, you are very nice, eh? Right, you're very nice. All right. But you are an angel. You're an angel. You're an angel. In yourself, you're an angel. But also, you are not alone. That is the good news. Every parent has had some moments in their lives with their kids. They have had some moments in their lives with their kids. You're not alone. But there's a bad news. I've given you the good news. Can I give you the bad news? Can I give you the bad news? No, you just want the good news. I can live with the good news. The good news is that you're not alone. You have the parents around here. That's why you need inspiration, you need motivation, you need some encouragement, from the others. But there is a bad news. The bad news that it's a long journey. Can I continue? And you've just started. You've just started. That's the bad news to it. You're not alone, it's a good news. But then there's a long journey. And that's why we are coming together, so that we can know that this journey, we're not alone, it's a long journey, we need to persevere, prayer-free. We are Christians, I take it. We need to go through this journey prayer-free. Go through journey using God's wisdom. Go through this journey trusting that God, will take us. Because we're not alone. He is also there, to help us through. The one who is our partner. Why am I saying the bad news? Because it's a long journey. Because, it's not only when they're 3 or 6 that you worry about them. Even when they're teenagers, you worry about them. Especially when they're 18, 20, between 18 and 20, they've just learned how to drive a car. And now they come, Daddy, Mommy, we are going out. I have a date somewhere. How many have teenagers there in their house? All right, so there you are. You are friends, because we've just passed through that. They come and say, I'm going for a party. And then you hear the word party. Your heart just drops. Because you don't know, you're not in control. The party is a place where you are not in control. Of course, if they're going to the church, that's fine. But also things happen at church. We've heard about that, eh? Things happen at church. Parties can go weird sometimes. How they pick on each other, they bully each other, or whatever. And then that's where you're on your knees. The problem with that, you know what? Your child is having a jolly good time. When you're having sleepless, night, you're turning around, and every car that passes your window, you open. Is he here? Is she here? Parenting is a long journey, friends. It's a long journey. It doesn't stop now. Because you may say, well, I've graduated now. They're 9 years old. They're okay. No, you're just entering another season. And this season can be very testing. This is a season where they'll look at you, look into your eyes and say, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. What are you going to do about it? Then you finish that season, then there's another season where he or she tells you, they are beginning to see another human being. And then you wonder, how are you going to look after another human being when in your room, it's like, a grenade has been thrown in. Everything is just flying all over. Every time I come to your room, I meet cockroaches telling me we can no longer live in this room anymore. It's too dirty. They are going away. And you want to look after another human being. You're laughing. That's very true. Even rats have put, they've put an announcement. Don't go into that room. You die. and this guy tells you he has a girlfriend. So you're not feeling for your son, you're beginning to feel for that daughter of somebody. Because you know they will be messed up completely, all right? It's not that you don't trust your son, you trust them. Don't misunderstand me. But you know where they're coming from. I mean, during our time, and I mean, we talk about this, we laugh about this, with Tiba, we laugh about our boys. Our boys have grown up, they've become quite responsible, but there was that time. There was that testing time. There was a time I stopped my wife, please don't go into his room. Because I don't want to lose 2 people in my house. Because by the time you go there, you suffocate to death. I said to my wife, promise me the next time you go into that room, wear an oxygen mask. I don't want to lose my wife. There were those times. There were those times where you say, you know what? Please, your BP is raising. Just quit. The best way is shut that room. And we thought it would never improve. But now it has turned around. Those are the boys now, they put things in order on their own. They look, and you wonder, is this the same? Is this the same guy? Is this the same child? So what am I saying to you? You're not alone. Don't give up on them. Take them through. Take them through that window. It's a testing window. I know it is stretching you. I know it is pushing you. But please, take them through that window. So even if it's bad news, that there will be those kind of testing times, I want to promise you, you come to the end. You definitely come to the end. It's like, a little toddler, whatever they're doing to you, they'll come to an end. All the tantrums they throw, they'll come down. I mean, just this morning, we're talking about our son, who was very talky, but now he's very quiet. He wants to be quiet, he wants to be alone, he wants to do his own thing. And we wonder, we could have taken him back to heaven, we could have missed this, all right? Thank you that, we endured a little bit, up to this time. So what I'm going to do here now, I want us to have an interaction at the end. I just want to give you a little bit of some few tips. And I won't be in detail in this. It's a few tips that I hope you can take away. Principles, that you need to look around, in your parenting, in your parenting, style. Number one, when we talk about parenting, for me, number one is provide a safe space. Ladies and gentlemen, if there is something you need to provide to your children, is a safe space. A space they'll call home. A space where they will never be threatened. If you can do whatever you can to create that space for them, then you've done something special. Sometimes, we buy them all these expensive things, but then the space where they are, they're not safe. They don't feel safe in their own home. They feel traumatized. So they feel traumatized outside, then they come in the home, they are also traumatized in the home. That can be very sad. So if there's something that I want to challenge you, which we, myself and Tiba, have challenged ourselves throughout our parenting journey, is to make sure that our home is a safe space. That whenever our children come, they feel safe. They're not threatened. Yes, there is discipline. Yes, there are boundaries, which I'm going to talk about, but they feel safe. They can be threatened out there. They know there is home. There is mom, there is dad. We're going to run to. Some of you may be single parents. That's fine. There's mom, or there's dad there, or there's my grandparent, or there's my guardian. Somewhere they can be safe. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a time where children are threatened every day. I sit, on the board of Marisbeck College. I'm the vice chairperson of the board at Marisbeck College. And some of you have heard, last year was quite a bad year for us. We were in newspapers, for bad things. Because wherever there are boys, all right? There will be things, friends. Sometimes, I wonder, why do you write about where there are boys, there are boys? Boys who experiment, boys who stretch boundaries. That's the nature of boys. Girls, they are angels. Ah. I've heard a mother say, if only you knew. Well, thank you. Yeah, I know only about boys. So what I'm saying that, there should be a safe space. Even in schools, it has become not a safe space for them. There are things that are going around, schools. There are bad guys that are just there, to get at our kids. We need to provide a safe space where kids will feel safe. They'll feel this is home. I can run there. Safe psychologically, safe mentally, safe physically, safe relationally. We are living in a time where there is a lot of mental health issues. And some of these things are caused by kids finding themselves in a world where they are pulled apart. There is nowhere to be safe. They don't feel safe. They don't feel safe to be themselves. So let's provide a place where kids can be themselves. They can talk about what they can talk about. Only you as a parent can create that environment where it's not threatening. They can talk about what they can talk about. And then you say, okay, bring it on the table. Let's talk about this. Safe space. I'm using deliberately the word space because it's a space. It's an environment. So it could be a house, it could be wherever you live, it could be when you're meeting the kids, whatever you call a space. And let me also clarify here. Safe space or place versus perfect place. I'm not asking you to provide a perfect place because there is no perfect home. Maybe only your home. There is no perfect home. There will always be this and that. I am saying a safe space. So let us not go for perfection because we'll never reach that perfection. That's where disappointment comes in parenting, where we want to be perfect. We want to be out like a neighbor. No, you are very unique. You're a unique home. You're a unique couple. You're a unique mother. You're a unique father. And therefore, you do things in a unique way. There will be principles that will guide you, but you know what? Go according to what God has gifted you. Are you with me this evening? All right, I can see you're with me. And then also, in that safe space, you help them to learn that they can fail. It's not all about winning. I know Mr. Trump has taught us it's about winning. No, it's not always about winning. What if when they fail, how are they going to handle it? They should find a safe space where they can say, I have failed. And you can be able to facilitate that discussion as a parent. Because that's your role. Your role is not to make them, hide their failure and to only show you their wins. No. Let them show their failures. Because from there are lesson discussions that you can be able to create. I know some of you parents are really I just want to see, winning here. I just want to see success here. What world are you living in, friend? What world are you living in? There will come a time they will fail. But if they don't learn in your home how to fail, there will be problem when they fail out there. Are you with me this evening? Let them learn to fail in our home. I'm not saying let them just fail deliberately. No. When that time comes, they should know I'll go to mom and I'll cry my lungs out. And mom will not condemn me. Dad will not condemn me. They will talk me through. They will understand. All right. Even if it's their fault, they will learn next time, what do you do? Because you didn't study. This is the result. So now, what are we going to do? Well, I think I'm going to study. Well, you've committed yourself. Let's see. How can we support you? That is safe space. The second tip that I want to give to you is set the clear boundaries. Set clear boundaries, but elastic enough to provide the learning. I know you have learned a lot about boundaries. There are boundaries for kids, especially where discipline is concerned. We need to set those kind of boundaries, that kids cannot just do whatever they want, because there are boundaries in life. Because if you don't set them, society will set those boundaries. And when kids don't know the boundaries in our own home, they'll find it very difficult when they visit other people's home. I've always said no to our kids, and myself and Tiba, that whatever we are helping you here, it's not just for here. You meet other people. You need to be respectful, for that. So you start, when do you start? You don't start when they're teenagers. You start when they're already toddlers. When he is busy there, not taking other people's food or another kid's food. That's the time to start. The time you have given them a nice cooked chicken. He's just about to touch it and then you remove it. You see how outraged you come. Wait, no, give it. It's me. It's mine. No, sit there. And then you say, how do you feel? But you've taken away my food. How do you feel? I feel sad. You feel sad. Yes, I feel sad. And how do you feel? I'm angry, Mom. You feel angry. The next time you take other people's food, that's how they feel. That's a lesson you never forget. Then shouting at him, stop taking other people's food. Stop taking it. You shout until the cows come home. For him, it's fun. It's adventurous. Okay, next time I want to start, Mom, grab other people's food. Then he looks at Mom. He's waiting, for a response. Use every opportunity to give them a lesson. He takes another person's food or another child's food. You wait for that moment, you are at dinner, when he's just about to take, you take it from him. You're not being cruel. You just want to learn the lesson. They'll cry, tantrum when they cool down and say, how does it feel? It feels bad. It feels bad, yes. That's how that other person feels when you do that. They'll never do it again because now it's a lesson for them. It's a life lesson. Next time they want to be tempted, they say, no, he feels bad. I don't want him to feel bad, man. He's got a lesson. Set clear boundaries and explain why. Parents, gone are those days. We are living with sophisticated kids who want to know why. And I know for you of toddlers, it's very irritating. Can you bath? Why? Eat your peas. Why? There's always a why question. But the why question is very important because it's a sign of intelligence in your child. So don't stop them. When they're asking why, explain why. And be calm about it. This is what we've learned in our parenting journey. When they're asking why, they're not being arrogant. They're just asking you why. Why are you stopping me do this? All right, you want me to tell you why. Are you going to listen? Yeah, but why? Okay, you sit there. Let me explain. And then you begin to explain. Find that moment. Because it's part of setting the boundaries. You can't just say, you will not do this. Why? They want to know why. Because if you don't know why are you telling them not to? So you better be prepared when you say you should not do this, should not do this. You better be prepared to tell them why. You know why you can't do this? This is what happens. Why you can't do this? They may not understand the first time, but later on, it will begin to click. This is my experience of parenting. It clicks at some point. So you may think you are losing the fight now. You may think that you are losing them now, but there will come a time it begins to click. They will be the ones actually not telling the other children. You can't do that. And it's fun when you sit and say, is this my son saying this too? He revolted when I said this to him. When we said this to him, he revolted, but now he's giving, advice, to the other children. Set clear boundaries, but also set clear consequences. Because boundaries have consequences. If you stretch this boundary, there are consequences. And make sure that, when you set those consequences, follow them through. Don't disappoint them. Follow them through. If you've promised them a consequence, make sure you live true to your promise. Because some of you parents are very disappointed. You know what? When you do this, I'll do that. When you don't bath, this is what is going to happen. I say go and bath. I say go and bath. And now they've tuned you like a radio. They've just said, she just started. They count 1. Go and bath! 1. I say go and bath! 2. it's now raising. Then they're tuning you, you know? By the time it's 5, mom, child, they are all bananas. Mom is crying, child is crying, everybody is on top of their voices. What am I saying to you? Kids are very intelligent. They know, I'll come to a point just now, they know what you are saying. They're hearing, but they are wondering, are you really serious about what you're saying? So if you're serious, don't disappoint them. If there is a consequence, make sure that you follow through that consequence. It's not nice feeling as a parent, but they must know. Mom and dad are very serious about these consequences. So next time, if I say this, I'll be eating some raw carrots and roasted, cabbage and some green peas while they are feasting on some pizza. That's a very nice time. Buy nice pizza, put it there. And then put some raw carrots, some green peas, some roasted cabbage, put it there. And then you are having a nice time. And then you see those eyes. No, go and eat that. But I can't eat that. No, but that's the consequence. We said if you don't do that, this is what will happen. Enjoy the raw carrots, roasted cabbage, and peas while we enjoy a nice pizza, mozzarella cheese on it. Very nice. And there's a nice drink on it. And he's watching. Don't do it behind their back while they are watching. I know some of you say, but that's torture. That's human abuse. That's boundaries. You don't do it every day. You do it once. And that lesson will last forever. That lesson will last forever. They will know when mommy said this, I'll be eating roasted cabbage and raw carrots and green peas. I better enjoy the pizza, so I better do that. So there are ways of doing, because we're living in a very sensitive world where you as a parent, you are restricted in terms of disciplining, a child. You have to be very careful, and there is a reason for that, because children have been abused. So how far do you go? But there are certain lessons which children, it sticks there. They'll never forget. He goes to bed and is chewing on the raw carrot, and he realizes, what happened to her today? Every time I tune her. But now, she just told me once, if I repeat twice, you're in trouble. And then I was in trouble. And then they wonder. I'm sure they'll be telling their grandparents, this seminar, my mom and dad went. I think something went wrong there, all right? Because now she means what she's doing. Okay, I'm coming to another point here. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I think that's very, very important. Say what you mean what you say. No room for ambiguity when it comes to parenting. Don't be ambiguous. Make sure that you mean what you say and say what you mean as a parent. In that way, children will begin to respect you, for that. They should know when you are serious and when you mean it. It should not just be a record where they're used to this. Because like I said, they'll know when to switch you on. And then number 4 is communicate at their level. Remember, children at different levels. There is no way you can communicate to a toddler the way you communicate to a teenager child. There's a difference. And that difference, friends, we should respect. It's a difference of the nature of life. A child will know I'm respected. Even if I've been naughty, even if I whatever, I'm respected at this level. So you communicate with them at different levels. The way we communicate with our 22-year-old when he has kicked the boundaries and the way we communicated with our teenager child who has just become a teenager is very different. And they know that. They know that. There's a lot of difference in that. And I just want to draw this, as I'm coming towards the close. When you're communicating with the teenager, I wish we had all the time to talk about this. There is a triangle. I call it, I think we have a slide there. Mary Chain, I think we have a slide there. There. I call it a sacred triangle. This is a triangle that Christo said I'm writing a book. I'm rewriting a book on this. And I hope I can be able to publish it soon. So a teenager triangle looks like this. So here is, I'll use the fridge. The fridge is a symbol of what? Excuse me. The fridge is a symbol of what? Talk to me. Sorry? Food. Exactly. So there is food there. There is drink there. What else? Happiness. Exactly. This is a happy world. If this world has no food, if this world has no drink, a teenager is depressed. Don't look at me like that. You were like that just now, right? A few years ago, you were just like that. Okay, they feel very depressed, okay? Let's go to another angle here. This angle is what I call the couch. Okay, what does the couch represent? TV, what else? Relaxation, gadgets. All right, games. It looks like you were a teenager just 2 years ago, right? Okay. No, you understand them very well, my friend. Okay, couch. It's like relaxation. Legs up, all right? Remote control. You know, things like all that kind of thing. Okay. Then there is this place I call the cave. Okay? So the cave. All right? There's a bedroom there. That's the bedroom. Okay? And what else do you find in the bedroom there? There is a what? Cell phone. They left a long time ago. They're not there. They don't want to share the room. All right? There is privacy. Okay? These are teenager words. So when you are speaking the language, next time we have a seminar on this, just on teenager, I'll love to do this in detail. When you want to communicate with the teenage, this you need to know. Sorry, are you seeing there? Okay, can you see it? You need to know this triangle, the sacred triangle. It's a holy triangle for the teenager. If you want to upset as a mother, if you want to upset a teenager, stand in the way when they're coming to the fridge. Some of you mothers have taken it very personally. When a teenager passes you at 8 o'clock in the morning, if you're lucky, because usually it's 11 o'clock in the morning, right? They're coming from their cave and off they go. You are there. Hello, can't you say good morning? No, understand. I'm going food. All right. You don't matter in my life anymore until I have what? Food. A greeting will come when there is no bread. When there is no drink. Now, mommy, where is the drink? But you didn't say good morning to me. Now you want my drink. Does that sound familiar? Oh, I told you, you're not alone. I told you you're not alone. So this path is a holy path. Don't stand in there. Especially you mothers, you are naughty. Don't stand in their path. It's like, you're standing in the path where there is a big, lorry coming, truck. Okay. Food is taken. Where is it heading? It's heading toward the couch. A teenager will walk in this triangle while closed eyes. They walk up from their bedroom. They know exactly food, drink, choop. There they go. Another triangle, couch, there. Choo. Back to the. That's a teenager's laugh. That mother is laughing. That's a teenager's laugh. So why am I saying this? I'm very brief. I'm coming to a close. If you want to correct a teenager, if you want to speak the language of the teenager, this is their language. He didn't make his bed. Why are you banging on his door? Why are you quarreling with him? The moment he opens his door, stand there. Where are you going? They don't say it. Where are you going? Where? Where are you going? Food. No. We said, you can't leave your bedroom like that. You can't come to my bread. You can't come to my drink. Go and make your bed. Go and do whatever. Whatever you have agreed upon, which needs to be put in place here. Here also, they've taken, sometimes you miss them there, all right? Because you are very gracious, whatever. You don't want them to starve to death. You love them. You love them so much. Stand in the way there. No, there's no TV there. There are no games. There's certain chores we need to do. There's certain things we need to do. Are you with me this evening? We need to know how to speak their language. We need to know how to communicate at their level. Otherwise, it's us who need psychotherapy. They will survive. They will survive the teenager. You will be seeking a psychologist, all right? While they are gone. I told myself and Tiba, we are not going to seek a psychologist. It's them that are going to seek the psychologist. So we better fix this nicely. So we know where to stand and we know where to hold. A teenager language. Okay, let me come to a close. Two quick things and then we are done. The other thing that I want to say here is, there we are, is this point. Check in and check out times. I think that's very, very important, especially those of you who have teenage children. I mean, the toddlers are not, they're easy. You take them to bed, you see them quite often. But children who move in and out of the house, parents, I want to advise you, check in. Check how are they doing, where are they at, connect with them. Find a place where you can connect with them. Remember, kids with food, they go together. If you want their attention, don't sit them there and start lecturing at them. Around the dinner table, whatever table you call it, whether you call it a kitchen table, wherever you sit to have food, that's the place you introduce some subjects. That's the place you talk about that celebrity you hate, who your teenager admires, and you know that there's a disappointment. That's the time you introduce that subject. I've heard this. What happened? How do you know? Well, I heard. Can we talk about it? No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I think let's just talk about it. There is food there. It's relaxed. It's welcoming. It's a safe environment. All right? So check in. How are they doing? All right? It's very, very important to check them in. That's why you also use, what I call, parental intuition. You need to know what's going on with my child. A talkative child, all of a sudden, they're quiet. Why are they quiet? What's happening? I'm not saying suspect them, because suspicion and intuition is very different. Some of us, parents are suspecting, we're suspecting everything all the time. No, I'm saying use discernment, use intuition. Why is this child quiet all of a sudden? Something is happening. Something is bothering him. Something is bothering her. Can we have a talk? Can you? And sometimes you surprise them. Can we sit? Can we just talk about this? Why? What have you seen? No. I haven't seen anything. Is there something? And once you create that, atmosphere, you find them, opening up and then talking about them. So catch them earlier before, it becomes late. And that's the time also you celebrate them. That's the time you praise them when they have kept the boundaries. That's the time, when you are checking in. You praise them. Take time to praise them. Because sometimes you're very good at, scolding. Take time to praise them. Take time, to lift them, when they've done something right. Remember, they always say they'll forget the toys, the good toys that you bought them, but they'll never forget the moments that you had with them. They'll talk about them when they're with their children. We have a 22-year-old in our life now. He's no longer in the house. He's at the university. But he talks about those times. You remember those times that we went out? You remember those times that we did that? We've forgotten about it. But he still remembers and he cherishes them. They'll forget about those nice gifts that we buy them. They need us. They need our presence. They need us to be there. I know we are living in a very busy world where work. But there comes a time just check in. Find out where each one of them, is at. Let me come to a close with this. I had 2, 3 more, but I'll just run very quickly. I think let's go to I've said number 7. Let's go to number 8, and then we finish with that. Watch out for the identity crisis. I think it's very, very important that we realize we are living in a time, especially for the young people who are trying to find themselves through social media, through Instagram, through Twitter, through Facebook. They are defining themselves by the world that they are watching out there. Us in the home, parents, that's the world we are competing against every day. And we need to be aware of that. The problem with that world, it looks very flamboyant, it looks very nice, but it's a broken world. It's a very disappointing world. So we need to help them out when they're asking the question, who am I? When there's an identity crisis in their minds, we need to help them out, figure that out. We need to facilitate that kind of conversation. You see this, this is what happened. You see this, this is what happened. Even when they say, you know what, you're old-fashioned, you don't understand. This is why us as parents, we need to be 10 steps ahead. I have read stuff sometimes, not because I wanted to read stuff, for the sake of my boys. So that when I'm having conversation, I'm not left out that stuff. And when I drop it in the conversation, you could see their eyes. Daddy, how did you know? How? You also knew about that one? Who? How? You are connecting with them so that they know you know what they're going through. You know what they're struggling, what they're struggling with. There is this identity crisis. Lastly, what I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, this evening. Let us not prepare our children just for now. Let us prepare our children for life. They will not be with you forever. No matter how nice that sounds. I've told you our 2 boys are not with us. One is at college, at Marisbeck College, is in the hands of teachers there. The other one is living on his own. They're gone. But what we did is to prepare them for those worlds. We are very aware there will come a time they'll face those worlds. So especially for you moms and you dads who think, no, this is, no, it's not just like that. There's another world there. You need to prepare them for that world. You need to prepare them to respect life. Because life has 2 sides. There is that down moment in life. Prepare them for that. When that moment comes, how are they going to handle it? Who do they speak to? Why should they not just keep it in their chest? They should open up and talk about it. We need to prepare, because if we don't, we're losing kids. We're losing kids in the moment that we're living in, because they don't know where to go. The world just closes on them, and they think that's the end of the world. Let's prepare them for that world. Lastly, let's prepare them to connect with God. Let them connect with God. They may tell you, I don't want to be Christian, whatever. Plant the seed there. Plant the seed there. It will be just a joyous moment when they tell you, you know what? I don't want to do what these other kids are doing, because, I'm a Christian. I love God. And you realize, when we were talking, he didn't even want to hear about it. But now, because the seed was planted inside, prepare them, for that moment. Christoph, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Wow. I feel like I've been given a head start on parenting teenagers. Thank you, Amon.
You're welcome,
Thank
brother.
you for the input. We'd love to field some questions. Like, I don't know if there are questions. I've got a few that I wrote down.
Or even just comments. You may
Or
not
comments.
have comments. Yeah, please.
Or comments.
I'd love to hear your comments, yeah.
Or maybe
Tiba,
share some of your experience. Tiba, do you want to join
Yeah.
your husband here? I'll grab you.
She was quiet, but she's not quiet. All right, don't be mistaken.
Okay, take a mic for the sake of the recording. There's a recording, so.
My question, Amon, is what do you do? Because I love to ask my kids when they come home, how was your day? What happened? They say, my day was fine.
Yeah,
They don't say my day was fine, they just say fine.
fine.
Fine. And
Yeah.
then I say, well, what does that mean? And they, just fine, Dad, leave it alone.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. You want to comment on that? Especially how old when they are, 14? Yes. Between 13 and 16, remember, there's a lot of things that are going on in their lives. It's a puberty time. The hormones, this is why, they don't greet you there. Fine. Mommy, don't. You used to take them to school right at the gate. Now they want you to stand far away. Go and park far away. I'll walk. Just leave me alone. Don't take it personal. It's a moment. It's the hormones that are going around. The thing is that just keep it going. My advice on that, just keep it going. Keep on asking, how are you doing? What's happening? Fine. That's okay. But like I said, extend that discussion when there is a eating time. You find them a little bit opening up. So just find a moment where they can open up a little bit. But don't be put off. Keep on greeting. It's a period of time. It's all these changes that are going around. And they don't like themselves. They don't like this horsey voice that is coming all of a sudden. And you are the target because you're going to laugh at me. They know the funny thing is that they know you love them. But inside they tell themselves, you are enemy number one. I don't want you to hear my voice. So it's just a confused world that they're living here. Tiba, you want to add something on that? Okay.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's really a different world. I think just on that one, each child is different. And you find that each child responds differently. So you find that actually there's something that they really like. And you find the other one, maybe if it's a girl, they love netball or something. So I find it's easier to connect with them on the things that they like.
Yeah.
So in other words, take an interest in that which they like. And the moment you are there and you find yourself in that kind of space, you find that they're opening up a little bit more. And the other thing I think for me what worked was doing something out of the home, the usual environment. You find that when it's home or everything, the usual routine, they sort of like shut down. But sometimes you go out, do something different, and then you connect with them on another level, and you find that they actually open up even just a little bit more. And like he said, Amon was saying here, don't stop. Because you find that at some point, they actually said, wow, why didn't she ask me today? Why didn't she greet me today? But they don't want to show it. I think that's the tear. They don't want to show it, like I don't want to show it. But deep down, it's like, greet me. Talk to me. But they don't want to show it. So I think you just keep on doing it. And eventually you find that one day will tell you, Daddy, those times, remember you reached out to me and everything. They'll actually appreciate it. Okay, there.
Thank you.
More questions?
Thanks, Christoph. Thank you so much for that awesome talk. I could relate with most of the things you were saying, but at the same time, I was just, remembering, those days when I used to say what I mean, and I actually meant what I was saying. And for me, that's important. For children of nowadays, because we, like you said, we get too busy, and then we kind of want to relax our rules so that we can just, have it easy for ourselves because we want to go sleep, but we want to go out, and then we give in. No. That's, personally, I want to thank God that it helped me to some extent. And my kids call me Holy Monster. Yeah. In primary school and high school, I wish they were here today, but it's something that most of their friends and my friends know. They call me Holy Monster, even in church. And Holy Monster means, we're being firm, right? So we pray for them, we teach them, we direct them, we guide them, but we discipline them. And I love this triangle. I didn't realize what I was doing is actually the triangle. So you actually helped me to understand that what I was doing then is triangle. Because I would refuse to do certain things until you've done what you're supposed to do. And those are the things that, made me a monster.
Thank you.
Pray for them. Early in the night, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., you go into your children's rooms. They don't want it. But you are in the spirit and you're sensing a few things. You go in there, even though you've had disagreements before you all went to bed. But you praying at night and you sense something about your children. You go in there and you carry your anointing oil and you anoint them. And they wake up and they go, but she was just disciplining me just now. So I really thank God for that talk. My question, if you can just help me. Right. And I have an idea of what answer you're going to give, but I'll just ask. What do you do, as a Christian mom? After you've shown your children, and I'm talking about adult children, everything that you know about the word.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And somehow, there's a digression.
Yeah.
It used to be, and then, life happens. And then there's a digression. I have an idea of what you're going to say, but
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Like in a practical way. Thank you.
Yeah. You want to comment on that? So the question is, what do you do when your children deviate to what you taught them, and they've chosen something? Okay, I've got it. Yeah. You want to say
Okay.
something?
Yeah, that's a hard one. Yeah, I'll just give an illustration, an example. I remember it was 2019 during COVID. And everyone was like online. I think COVID was like, the first month was like, yeah, we're going to be at home. And then the second month, they're like, ish. I don't know if we can actually, it was just becoming too much in each other's space. So you watch online TV, and the first time it's like, oh, we're switching on TV, and then the next time, like, you see people like, church, like, wake up, church time, and okay, the first time is fine, and you see people are sleeping, they're not really into it and everything. And then our eldest son actually came up to us and said, I want to take a break from church. That was like, you don't expect those things coming. And says, I just want to take a break from church. I don't want to go to church anymore. I'm on a path of discovery and everything else, and, so I don't want to go to church anymore. So I said, okay. And, the first thing as you do, as long as you're eating our food here, you're living in this you're living in this house, and you are part of a thing, and it's part of our life, and, So that's the first thing. That's the first reaction. You're going to church and everything else. And he just looked at us and says, no, I don't want to go to church anymore. And I've told you, I've nothing. I love God and everything, but I just want to take a break from church. And it's not that I don't love God, but I want to discover things for myself. Okay, so we tried the food. We're like, oh, no, you're eating here, and unless you go and stay on your own. But anyway, he stood his ground. And so we left him. And COVID came, and we started going back to church. And he stood his ground and said, I'm not going to church. So we'd go to church, and we'll leave him at home. And it's so sad, because you're going out there, you're going to tell others about Jesus and how, and here, meanwhile, your own son is in the house, he says, I have nothing to do with God. And the sad part is that the young brother now, how do we take him to church when the elder brother says, I don't want to go to church? So him is also like going to church, like dragging his feet, and you're like, come on, let's go to church. And then you say, but how come you're letting him not go to church? And here we are. It was a very hard decision, but I think for me, I came to a point that, you know what? I just felt in my heart, and we felt in our heart, it was just time to pray. Because this was beyond. We couldn't force it on him, like go to church and he goes there, he's just waiting for church to finish. I just started to pray. We started to pray and say, God, you know the seed that we planted in him, and you know the place, and everything else is hard for us to go to church, and then we're leaving him at home. But we had to let him. And we didn't force it. At first, we were like, and then we realized, oh, it's not working. But in short, I think that's the question you're asking. So anyway, the young brother, and we said, okay, please come for the sake of your young brother. At least just sit there, even if you don't want to listen. And okay, it didn't work. But eventually, he went to varsity. COVID ended, everything ended. He went back to university. And when you pray as a parent and everything else, he goes to varsity, and he was never in girls. Like, he was not like, in relationships or anything. But when he went to Pretoria, he found this girl, and I could tell that there was something like, okay, for the first time. And that girl was the leader of the cell group. So she led the cell group. She was praying and she was like, everything, like, woo. And I'm like, okay, mommy, there's this girl in my life, whatever. And, mom and dad, whatever, came to tell us she's the leader of the cell group and she's this. So through that, it actually, like, she's so on fire for God. She's like, prayer, everything's like, mom, when I see you, everything is about prayer, Bible, whatever. And that's how he went back. And this time he took back his word. So when you pray, God has his own ways of actually bringing them back to the fold. And he might not even use you. He might use another channel of being able to bring them back to God. All we have to do as parents is to keep on our knees, to continue to speak that word, the word that we have planted in the seed, and say, God, I know that seed has not fallen on a rock. It will germinate and it will grow. And it's now back full force. The other day, I'm going for a men's conference. I'm going for this. I'm like,
No, go first. Just to add one other thing there. Like I told you, when you say you love them, you'll be tested how much do you love them. Like Tiba said, that's where the test comes in. Do you really love them? Or you just love them because they are following what you tell them? It shouldn't be like that. You love them in spite of. You love them in spite of. So when they begin to know that you love them for whatever they are, God has his own way of bringing them back. And like Tiba says, keep on praying. If that's the best you can do, keep on praying for them. Even when it's in good time, it's not only in bad time. Even when it's good time, bring them before the Lord. And this is what we have lived for as a couple. We pray for our children. Every day we pray for them. It could not be formally seated there, but wherever. When I'm driving, I just pray for Eddie, I pray for Victor. Sometimes I pause, I pray for Eddie, I pray for Victor. She prays, all the time, for the children. Every morning, she's a morning person. She prays. God does something when you do that. You may not be there, but you wake them up. So they may deviate. They may go their way, but heaven is watching. And heaven will not disappoint you. The Lord will bring them back, all right? So be encouraged, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you guys highlight one of the kind of questions that I had is what is your experience of changing from parenting a child to parenting an adult? What are some of those tips to actually transitioning? Because at some point, I guess you'll always be their father and their mother.
Yeah.
But you become adults in the room.
Yeah.
Rather than parents up here and children down here,
Yeah.
What, just talk us through how you're experiencing that and some advice for those of us with older kids.
Okay. So if I hear you, Christoph, Tiba will add on this. If I hear you, you're asking, how do you transition? Are you asking coming to their level as an adult?
No, so your kids are now out of school.
Yes.
You can no longer say you have to be A, B, C.
Yeah.
Because they are adults in their own right.
Correct.
How do you experience that change in relationship as a parent?
Okay, that's right. Usually when they are little ones, they're kids, you tell them what to do. You sit there. You eat your peas. You eat whatever. But as they begin to reach the teenager, they begin to ask questions. And the question starts with the question, why? Even before teenager, 9, 10, they're already asking you, why should I do it? As they reach in teenager, the conversation changes now, not to why I won't do it. I don't need to do it, Daddy. I don't need to do it, no, Mommy. This is, I think, for me, the transition is in the conversation. You need to be aware that with little kids, you can't have that kind of conversation of one-to-one. There are certain things you need to guide. There are certain things you need to direct. But as they reach teenagers, you pull the chair. Sit there. I sit here. Let's talk about it. What's going on here? So now you have changed from standing and saying, no, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, and just say, no, please. You know what? I asked you to do this thing. Do you know why I asked you to do this thing? And you said, you don't want to do it. Why don't you want to do it? You're giving them the floor. that's where the conversational changes. And they will notice, actually. They will notice that, our eldest son and our youngest son, you always remind us, I am not the youngest son. You're talking to me like, you're talking to the youngest son. We'll be reminded sometimes of that. So we've made some mistakes, but we'll be reminded. No, don't talk to me like, you're talking to my young son. So at that point, you change the conversation. He wants to have a conversation. And that conversation goes along. And that continues, even when they are in the 20s. You find that, it changes the conversation. Now, he walks in, he will sit there and say, Dad, I want to have a chat. And then you know what's coming. When they want to. So now they're the ones who are initiating the conversation. Whereas, where you're coming from, you were the one initiating, the conversation. Now it's them because, they need some money from your pocket. They need your car keys, whatever. So they're initiating the conversation. You want to add something on that? Yeah.
I think just another point is, I think for me, when they get, like now my son is, our son is 22, is to realize that they have a mind of their own and they have something to contribute. So it's not just downloading, it's two-way. You also have to take in, because now they also have the wisdom to bring into something. And you also have the wisdom to give. So it's two ways now. You also need to listen to their wisdom. Because at this point now, they can actually speak into your life and say, Mom and Dad, I think here you are not right, or whatever it is. So as a parent, you can say, no, I'm your father, and there's nothing you can tell me. I think that's not right. So there comes a time that even them at that point, they can actually correct you. Because my son has corrected me several times. Mommy, your thinking is not right there. I think we have erred and everything else. So you need to be able to draw in from their wisdom. Because remember, what they're giving you is what you've planted over time. So now you're able to reap from that. But then you also have to come to a point that you can also, so it's two-way now. I think that's where the relationship changes. That it's no longer one way now, like just telling. They can also have an input into your life, and also you can input into their lives.
So just to add to that, I've got an 18-year-old son who's got a very radical father, and he's just like his son. And so he's been a boy from young who's done radical things. From 10 years old, he was left at the skate park alone, hanging with the addicts around the corner, and he was homeschooled, so he had the freedom. And we had to start shifting our boundaries slightly and trusting him.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest part for me, because you just think their frontal lobe's not developed, all that is not cliche stuff, it's real, and he's just not going to make good decisions. But the next time we'd get there to pick him up, and he'd be waiting for us, and he'd be hanging with the good boys. And so it's gone on, and he's 18 now. And now he's DJing, and he's in the nightclub world, and he phones and lets us know, and he's always ready and waiting, and he's always home on time. And then you hear the conversations they're having with their peers, because he's in a youth group, but he's also hanging with the wild crew, so there's this juxtaposition of the two worlds. And you live in fear that at some stage he's just going to slip up, because his dad's got a motley past. And he's 18 next week, and I just said to him again yesterday, Noah, have you smoked marijuana? Just be honest with me, boy. He said, Mom, I really haven't. And there comes that stage of honesty and the ultimate trust, and you have to then just put angels around your children. So that's been a crazy journey for me of lying awake at night. But he's built more and more trust in me. Next, my daughter's coming, she's 15. I don't know if it's going to be the same journey, but when she does trip up, it'll be the safe space where she can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't mention, but I wanted to mention that when you hear them counseling their peers who are maybe making bad decisions, I can hear the steadfastness in Noah, that he just gives such good advice. So you know you've sown that stuff into them, and now they must fly and make those decisions. It's flipping hard, but we're in that chapter.
Yeah, actually, it's a very powerful. Do you have that slide on Never Police? Can we go to that? Let me just. I skipped one slide. I just want to comment there. Never Police create accountability. I think that's what you are saying. Sometimes we police the kids. There should come a time where we empower the kids. We give them the remote control. I trust you that you take responsibility. There is the TV. And then you see what's happening. I've bought you a cell phone. I'm not going to be there every day, but I trust you that you take responsibility over this cell phone. For us in our home, that has worked. We've never policed, our kids because they know, Mom trusts me. If I break this trust, Daddy trusts me. If I break this trust, it's not accountability. Because sometimes, you may be policing them. Like I said, remember, parents, you're not going to be there all the time. Prepare them for that other world. And that's what you're saying. So that when they're in that group, even when they're among their peers, with all the peer pressure, they can say, no, I'm not going to do it. Just recently, we have our kid, saying, no. He said to his friend, no, I don't like this. I'm not going to be part of this. We were not there. He came and said, look, I told him, no, I'm not going to be part of that. What has happened? What you planted. Because you have given them, to have that sense of accountability. So don't always police them. Mummies, don't look for them, I'm watching you wherever. You'll not be there. You'll not be there forever. Empower them so that they can take responsibility on their own. And when you trust them, friends, what happens psychologically? It begins to build a self-esteem in them. Mommy, trust me. And when they break that trust, they're really broken. They know. Our sons sometimes have broken the trust. They come, they really cry out because they know it's not us. They've disappointed, also God in that regard. I just wanted to add on that. Thank you so much, Mary Chain, on that one.
So I have two questions. First, do you do a mother's triangle? Because that's the next one when you come back. The mother's triangle.
It's coming. We'll do a mother's triangle, we'll do a father's triangle. All right.
Now, my real question is, when you, as the parent, start living, when you were 14 and 15, the mistakes you made.
Yeah.
And now there's a fine line between sharing that with them to say, I don't want you to make this mistake. And they're like, well, you made that mistake. So how do we navigate that? Because I think you start to see your children, you see yourself.
In them,
and
yeah.
And then you also have to be strong enough or brave enough to see that.
Yeah.
How do we cope with it?
Okay. You want to comment on that? Or you comment there? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's really, because there's a fine line, like really not really overstepping. I think there comes a moment that you have to be vulnerable and say, for me, these are the mistakes I made, and these were the consequences to my mistakes. So once you open up to them, so it's not just telling them, I made the mistakes and you stop there. But I think it's to tell them, this is what I did. But because of this is what happened. So if you decide to go on this road, then just know that you also have consequences to it. So it's not a matter of comparing, oh, Mom, just because you did this, I did this. But see, this is what happened to me because of this kind of a thing. So they're able to see the consequence to it. And if they decide to follow that, just tell them, you know what, this is what it is. We all make mistakes in life, but I don't want you to be able to go down that road. And if you do go down that road, you disobey or whatever, just know that they're the same consequences that I faced, they're the same consequences that you'll be able to face. Because sometimes you might live in a thing of fear that you've not forgiven yourself. Because I think sometimes it has to start with you as a parent, whereby you made those mistakes and sort of like you have not forgiven yourself, you have not reconciled with all those things that have happened in your life. And because you haven't dealt with it, so you always live in fear for your children. What if the same thing happens to her? What if the same thing happens to her? So I think the first place is to find wholeness in yourself. Fix yourself, find wholeness in yourself, and from that point of forgiveness, from that point of saying, this is what God has done for me, you share with the kids from there. But if you share from a point of fear, I think that's where, for me, where the problem will be. But you sharing from the point of helping them, but not from a point of fear.
Okay. Can I add something on that one? You can have it. One thing to add, remember, there is a difference between friendship and relationship. Your kids are not your friends. Get that right. Your kids are not your friends. You have a parental relationship. I think this is the line that sometimes we forget. Again, because of lack of understanding, we just say, no, my kids are friends. No, you don't mean that. you mean you are a parent to them, you have a good relationship with them. Because a friend is where, a kid has a friend. They can talk to them whatever they want to talk. They can, that's not the friendship that you are talking about. That's not the relationship that you have. You have a relationship where there comes a time you can call them for accountability. Only a parent can do that. Another friend cannot do that because, they're having a jolly time, they're having fun, whatever. But you have a parental role. Sometimes there is that temptation as parents because we want to show that we love our kids, then we end up being their friends. And when we do that, it becomes an impossible task to correct them when they're going wrong. Because you don't want to lose the friendship. So psychologically, in the name of protecting the friendship, you losing your child. So that's a choice that you need to make, as a parent. Don't be friends to them. Be a parent to them. Have that close relationship with them. A very good environment that you've created, but they're not your friends. Because when you cross that line, then you begin to dress like them. You begin to talk like them. I've heard some parents like that, it's cool, yo. Hey, yo, it's cool. What are you doing? Just to tease my boys, sometimes I've done that, just to tease they know. It's a line that we don't close in our house. Hey, yo, what's happening? I say, Dad, what's happening? What's up now? Why? Because they know it's strange. They know I'm a parent. I've trained them that way. So immediately I begin to behave that way, it's a strange. What did you eat today? What did you smoke? What's happening, huh? So what I'm saying, I'm encouraging you. Don't get discouraged if you have convinced yourself you're a friend to your children. What you meant is that you have a relationship with them, a very close relationship. But please keep that line very clear. Because immediately they take you as a friend, it becomes a problem when it comes to drawing the line. Building, especially for you young children, young parents with young children, make sure that line is very clear. I'm not saying boss your children. I'm not saying become a monster. I'm just saying kids know this is mom. This is dad. And it's very spiritual to do things like that. Okay? Thank you.
Just in my experience, I think that the important thing to remember is that our children evolve and they grow spiritually, physically, emotionally.
Correct.
And, for our children not to have the same experiences we have had, we have to be honest, and it's how we present our experiences that are important. And we take our fears to the Lord, so we do not speak to them from a place of fear, like you said. But also we have to allow them to work out their own salvation.
Yeah.
Everything that we're teaching them at some point in their lives, they're not robots. And we have to give them the responsibility of asking them the right questions. What's important to you? How do you see your life? How do you see yourself in 10 years from now, or 5 years from now? What is it? Help them to set realistic goals. And I have a 17-year-old, and she is head of a debating team, so it carries into the home. And I have to remind her that, I am the mom, and we can have a space of engagement, but there has to be boundaries.
Yeah.
So you can speak your mind with respect. So we have a space where we call it the family gripe session. You're allowed to say what you want to say, but within reason and in a respectful manner. And so that gets answered. And then in terms of adult children, we have to trust that the Holy Spirit is the perfect parent.
Yeah.
And that, we fall short in so many ways, and there are so many gaps, and it's the Holy Spirit that fills in those gaps. And, when we're presenting our faults and failures to them, that we present ourselves as humans, but also with authority.
Yeah.
Because when we present ourselves as, we failed in this area and that area, but without the authority, then they see it as a space to say, you know what, oh, well, if you did that, then I can do this.
Yeah.
And, I had to ask my 17-year-old, because my life has been very colorful. I've made huge blunders, and ask her, where do you want to see yourself? Do you want to see yourself where I am? do you want to spend 40 years in the desert and then get to the promised land? Or, how do you see yourself? So I think that it's important to allow them to work out their own salvation.
Yeah. Christo, she said something. Marichen, there's a slide there on fighting battles. Can we find it? I think you said something there. Sorry, I skipped some of this slide because of time. Do not fight their battles. That's a mistake that we do sometimes as parents. I've seen parents on the field, they want to, all right, you know what I'm talking about. On the field, rugby. It's not your rugby. It's not your volleyball. It's not your soccer. It's not your cricket. Watch. Restrain yourself. Sometimes we want to live life in our children. Let them be children. Sometimes allow them to fight their own battles. There could be some scuffles, at school. Sometimes what I say, you quickly try to rescue them. What are you doing? You are doing them disfavor. A quick rescuing is doing disfavor. I speak like a man. The ladies don't like that. Sometimes they need to drink a little bit of water just before they suffocate, then you take them out, all right? Then they know how to survive. I'm just using that as an illustration. Sometimes we rescue them too quickly. When are they going to learn some social skills of interacting, of conflict resolution, when they're meeting somebody different, somebody who's talking to them something, nasty, how are they going to deal with that? Don't come in too quickly. Yes, there are situations where you don't need to wait. You need to come quickly. But there are some situations you just leave them a little bit. They'll come back to you. I did this. If they made mistake, then you correct them. No, this now. You don't speak like that. It's not whatever. Oh, the teacher, said this. Okay, what did you say to the teacher then? No, mommy, come and talk to the teacher. No. I want to hear what did you say to the teacher then? What are you teaching them? You're not fighting their battles. Remember, friends, like I said, you'll never be there always. You'll never be there always. So teach them, empower them, so that they can be able to win some battles, sometimes even fail in these battles, but that becomes a conversation with them. Okay? Yeah.
So, do not fight their battles. You find your child who is driving a car and whose car had a flat tire, left this car with a flat tire standing for weeks. And you as a mom or dad, you could see the car with a flat tire. Are you going, that's not my battle?
Yeah.
Until 1 month, 2 months, that's not my battle. And nothing gets done. Then what?
Very
because
good question.
This child now
Yeah.
is walking back and forth all over the place, not driving the car.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Take back the car.
Take out the car. Exactly. Yeah. I think if you heard me, I said you need to distinguish. There are certain things you need to rescue them there and there, because it's life and death. There's no quarrel about that. But I'm talking about some of these trivial, minor issues. I've given you example at sports. I mean, you're watching sports. All of a sudden, your kid has been tackled by another kid. What do you want to go? You want to go and shake, the other kid that has tackled? No. That's not a good rescue there. Watch how your kid handles that tackle. If he goes and fights, that kid, you come, you separate them. But that becomes a talking point. How did he handle it? Because there will be many of those conflicts, even worse. So if he can't handle that small thing, how is he going to handle something bigger? Number one. Number two, it's when you are not there. That's where the problem is. So do everything to say, what if I'm not there? So that, you empower that kid to handle whatever conflict, especially in conflict times. Those are the battles that I'm talking about. I'm really not talking about those life and death issues where, you hear, a phone is ringing, your kid, actually has been lifted up, by the police. No, let him fight his own battles. No. You have to come in as a parent. But especially for the younger children, don't come in too quickly. Make sure that, you use those as talking points, as correction points, because you'll never be there when they have to handle a very, very scaffold, difficult situation. You get what I'm trying to say. So thank you for asking that.
Allow me just a last question and an observation, something that I've seen over several years in many ways. So you have a couple, they love Jesus, they're serving in the church, and then there comes a baby.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whew,
Yeah.
gone. You don't see them. And for some reason, what you see is that somehow the kid becomes the center of the home and has taken the center of the home away from where it was.
Yeah.
And I guess we see that often with young families, the first child. I'm thinking several families that I can think of where that was the case.
Yeah.
And I guess in a different way, you get that kind of same pressure when your kids are a little bit older, when there's such busyness and there's extramurals and it's this sports and that sports. And you get people that you never see them in church. They say they love Jesus, but they're not in church. They don't come and pray. They don't come to a home group because, the kid's got this sport and this thing and that thing. And how do we as parents guard against the child pulling the center of the home away from the center?
Yeah.
What's your tips and your own journey with that?
Okay. You want to say something on that? Okay.
I think for me, it's all about balance. I think having priorities right. So I think right from the beginning, you have to draw those kind of boundaries. I think also boundaries for yourselves as parents. Because now it's so easy, now soccer is on a Sunday. Everything is on a Sunday. So I think we also get to that point, what are we going to do and what are we not going to do? Because you can't do everything. You can't do your whole life revolves around the kid. Then actually you've got no life of yourself. So I think you need to sit down with the kid and say, what do you want to do? And we want to support you, want to be there for you, but you can't do cricket, hockey, tennis, rugby, the whole lot, 10 sports. Then you don't have a life. You see what I mean? So we have to stay right from I'm talking about the older kids, especially for the sport. So you have to say, which sport do you want to play this time? Okay, I want to do cricket and this. Okay, how are we going to structure it around what we're doing, around church and everything else? Because remember, these kids have to know that God comes number one. These other things come second. So already you're also teaching them that no matter wherever they find themselves in life, they have to have a place for God. Otherwise, there's so much going on. I think for me, that's the thing from the thing. And if you have got a small baby, you have to know right from the beginning. The first months you obviously excuse. Maybe the first month you are trying to adjust and everything else. But as the baby settles in, you begin to find a routine. And God is part of that. The thing is that once you don't make God part of the plan, then it gets thrown out. Because when everything else, then God is number one to leave the list. I think we don't need church anymore. But the other things are important. So for me, it shows where your heart is. The Bible says where your heart is, that's where your treasure is. So if God is part of your life, you make room for that. Whatever other things will have to revolve around that. But the moment you kick out God of your life, then you bring other things. Then it just shows that actually you have shifted. So you always have to remember He is the center. Other things revolve around that.
Okay. I'll add something on that. On the planning which Tiba has mentioned. Everything is about planning. Coming here, you planned. Right? You planned. You left, some of you left your kids. You still find them alive, hopefully, all right? You planned that. So even when coming to church, it's part of that plan. I want to say the other side also. Churches. We need to be sensitive. Sometimes, parents keep away because of the way the church is sort of placed or planned, or how the church evolves itself. They feel out of place. They don't want, the kid, especially some of these churches where, not your church, here, Cristo, you guys are young. Some of us go to churches where they're older folks. a cry of a baby, everybody turns, and looking for that devil who was just cried when the angels were moving here. And do you think I'll come to church again when I have a little kid? No ways. I'm gone. So sometimes, we create that kind of atmosphere where parents feel, you know what, I'll just be at home. And they begin to use that as an excuse. And eventually, they keep away from the fellowship. But it's not advisable. Remember, that gift the Lord has given you, you need the support of others. You need the spiritual support. You need all the support that you need. So don't keep away. Actually, the best place to be is at church when you have that little one who keeps you awake, the whole night. You really need to be in the fellowship of the others. But I also want to look the other side, that us as churches, we need to be friendly, to those younger parents because they're having it tough. Especially the grown parents, they think, wow, why bring the baby to church? You're disturbing everywhere. No. It's an environment that you need to create. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
It's amazing. Anybody got any more burning questions? Otherwise, I think we should call it a night because I think, these questions will come.
Your kids are being given chocolate. Let's go home. All right. It's time to go home.
Can we just stand and let's just thank these guys?